Good morning, everybody. Today we'll be having the last portion, and I will have to reveal what I've been keeping secret. Because if I don't reveal, even if I don't reveal, I won't be able to stop. Nadi won't make me stay for one more day, so better reveal it. Yeah. So let's start, and with the pranam mantra of Shri Krishna, we will start like yesterday. ॐ वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. So yesterday when we ended, we saw that Arjuna is completely broken down. He can't even hold his bow. Emotions have overpowered him completely. He has become so weak mentally that is reflected in his body also. His mind is whirling. In the end, he says, I cannot even stand. Nacha shaknomi avasthatum. He cannot even stand. His legs are wobbling under the tremendous force, tremendous reaction of his emotions. Attachments, fear. Attachment give rise to fear. Otherwise, there can never be any fear. So he just sits down. He says, I don't want any kingdom. I don't want any enjoyments. I don't even want to live. If I have to live by killing these people whom I consider my own. So we have seen what Sri Krishna tells him, and we will repeat the last verse which we had discussed yesterday. So I will chant as usual. Tam tatha kripaya vishtam ashru purna kulekshanam vishidantam idam vakyam uvacha madhusudanaha. So to him who had been thus filled with pity, whose eyes were filled with tears and showed distress, and who was sorrowing, Vishidantam, Madhusudana. Madhu was the name of a demon whom Sri Krishna had killed. That's why he was named Madhusudana. He uttered these words. Shri Krishna told him. What did he say? Kutastva kashmalam idam vishame samupasthitam anaryajustam aswargyam akirti karam arjuna. So Arjuna, in this perilous place, when two armies are standing ready to attack each other, whence has come to you this kashmalam? Kashmalam means impurity. This thought is impure because it is born of attachment. And this type of thought is entertained only by unaryam, unenlightened persons. Moreover, it does not lead to any good. It does not lead to worldly good, means it does not lead to any prosperity in the world, nor will it lead to heaven, nor will it bring you liberation. So, why are you entertaining this kind of thought in such a dangerous situation? It will not do you any good. So, you are desirous of liberation, you are desirous of so many things, and you entertain this kind of thought. So the idea is that, alas, your behavior is not up to the mark, not what a Kshatriya should say or think. So this is a kind of rude awakening for Arjuna. He could never have thought maybe that his own brother Krishna would say something like this. So because of infatuation, Arjuna has forgotten his duty. As we have seen, he suddenly thinks that even this dharma yuddha, which is fighting for a just cause, will lead to sin, and it will be virtuous if he gives up the fight. But actually the opposite is true, because dereliction of duty will be sinful. Moreover, as a result, if he does not fight, Kauravas will become the rulers, adharma will rule, society will fall to pieces, no one will be safe. These people were so demonic that they could even insult Draupadi in the presence of all the warriors, Dhritarashtra, Bhishma, Drona, and they got away with that. So imagine what will they do if they get power? They will cause misery to hundreds and thousands of persons. So this is what the fate of the society will be. And on the other side, personally, if he does not fight, it will bring infamy to Arjuna. People will say, oh, when it mattered most, when there was such a crisis, he ran away, he did not fight. So, anaryam, it is completely against the behavior of enlightened persons. An Arya will always know through discrimination what is right and what is wrong. But Arjuna has lost that power. Rather than give evidence of his bravery now, when everything is at stake here. Rather than teaching the evildoers a good lesson, he is sorrowing. He is broken down, and he is talking of renouncing the world, eating by begging, all that. So now, a brilliant summation which I found of what actually Sri Krishna wants to say to him. Yesterday we had seen a summation of what Arjuna is saying to Krishna, why he won't fight. And here, same thing is done with respect to what actually Krishna wants to say. So what message does Krishna want to get through to Arjuna? He wants to say, Arjuna, what has happened to you today? You are behaving like this on a battlefield of all places. This is not your home, where you are in comfort. You can just, take it easy. The whole world knows you to be a fearless warrior, the best among the Kshatriyas. Your valor is renowned in all the three worlds, and here you are, weeping like a child. What you are thinking to be a very noble emotion, behind that pity, behind that compassion, is hidden fear of being defeated in battle and attachment to your kinsmen. Recognize this disease. Don't try to cover the sores of your defects with roses. Know your defects to be defects. So he's telling so much about Swajana, no? Kauravas are my own. Now see, since when did you entertain such love for the Kauravas that you now think you won't be able to live without them? You have been fighting and quarreling with them from your very childhood, when they started planning against you all Pandavas. When they couldn't take away your share of the kingdom by legitimate means, they defeated you in a game of dice by deceit. And as a result, you have been wandering for the last 12 years in the forest. And then another year, we know, it was Agyatavas, incognito. And another year with the fear that you may be found out at any time. So the pact was that if they were found out within 1 year, they would have to go again for 12 years. Means by that time their life would be finished. Before that, they planned to burn you all alive. You know. And interesting fact is, if you read the Mahabharata original, when it was planned to send them to that house made of wax, who called them, and told the Pandavas to go there? It was Dhritarashtra himself. It was not Duryodhana. Because Duryodhana knew that Pandavas would never disobey Dhritarashtra. And Pandavas knew that this was being planned for them. And Dhritarashtra called them and told them very sweet words. That you go, take rest, everything has been arranged for you. So this was the character of our Dhritarashtra. Knowingly he sent them to their death. So, Arjuna, knowing all this, you are acting as if there is no one dearer to you than the Kauravas. Practice a little introspection. Why are you deceiving yourself in this way? We all know the truth. So, this is the first thing which Sri Krishna says. Attachment has completely conquered Arjuna. And how it can be described? This problem is, he knows what the Kauravas are like very well. He has suffered all through life from them, all the brothers. But this is something he cannot shake off, in spite of everything. And Swami Vivekananda describes this type of attachment, which we call love, in such graphic words, graphic description. He says, a mother is nursing her child with great care. All her soul, her life is in that child. The child grows, becomes a man, and perchance becomes a blackguard and a brute. He kicks her and beats her every day, yet the mother clings to the child. And when her reason awakes, she covers it up with the idea of love. She even tells herself lies, that it is love. She little knows that it is not love, that it is something which has got hold of her nerves, which she cannot shake off, however she may try. She cannot shake off the bondage she is in. And this is Maya. These are Swami Vivekananda's words. So we often try to justify all our attachments, all our emotions under the garb of love. It is far from love. Love brings peace. It brings happiness. It can never make you miserable. So Arjuna is indulging in self-pity. He is giving all sorts of reasons. But he has forgotten that the situation in which he finds himself is because of his weakness. Nobody else is responsible. So Swami Vivekananda, there is a poem by Swami Vivekananda. He explains this situation. Again, I quote him. Ye suffer from yourselves, none else compels. None other holds that ye live and die, and whirl upon the wheel, and hug and kiss its spokes of agony, its tire of tears, its nave of nothingness. This is the world. This is describing the nature of the world, where it's only weeping and sorrow, and at the end, finding nothing of substance. So, all the misery we have, he says, is of our own choosing. Such is our nature. The old Chinaman, who, having been kept in prison for 60 years, was released on the coronation of a new emperor, exclaimed when he came out that he could not live. He could not live in the sunlight. He must go back to his horrible dungeon among the rats and mice. He could not bear the light. He had been in those circumstances for so long, even the light of freedom was not appealing to him. So he asked them to kill him or send him back to the prison, and he was sent back. Exactly similar is the condition of bound human beings. We run headlong after all sorts of misery and are unwilling to be freed from them. Every day we run after pleasure, and before we reach it, we find it is gone. It has slipped through our fingers. Still, we do not cease from our mad pursuit. So these are the words we may not like, but this is the truth. So we should know that we are getting what we have chosen, what we have wanted. And it is only upon us, dependent upon us, to improve our situations and walk upon the path trodden and taught by saints and sages. So after this, now finally we come to the verse which Swami Vivekananda said contains the essence of the Gita. But before that, a little background is necessary so that we can understand it well. So we have seen that all the causes of the misery of Arjuna can be boiled down to one word, that is attachment. And why does attachment come? Attachment can come only when there is any kind of weakness. A person who is strong in every respect, who is spiritually mature, even if he becomes attached to some degree, it will not crush him down completely. Sri Ramakrishna says again and again in the Gospel that if you are a devotee of God, it is not a pact with God that He will make you happy all through your life. No. Then what is the advantage? The advantage is when you are a devotee, you are holding on to something eternal. So when the vicissitudes of life come, when tragedy comes, as it is bound to come sooner or later, you won't be destroyed. It is, and so many examples we come across every day. When people have nothing to hold on to except the worldly things, if those things are gone, if those people are gone, and that can happen any moment, then where will you stand? What will you catch for support? So you may know that there is a city in Canada, Calgary. It is just 1 hour flight from Vancouver. So one of our devotees lives there, and she's looking after this care home, or it's a medical cum care facility actually. So she personally told me this true incident, that she gets to know so many people and she has a glimpse into their minds. Old age is not fun. So she personally told me that in front of her eyes, a very big doctor, and doctors, how much they earn in all these countries. Very renowned doctor, in front of her eyes, he gave up food and drank himself to death because he had suffered so many tragedies in his life. Maybe her He was divorced, his wife had gone away, his son had died, something like that has happened. So he had nothing. And he ended his life in a miserable way. So this is happens when we are not aware that there is something permanent behind this world. This is not everything. God is not so cruel that He has left us in this condition with no way out. No, there is a way out. And we are the heirs of an infinite kingdom of peace and bliss. But nobody can force us. Even God does not force. Each man is independent. At the end of the Gita, in the 18th chapter, Sri Krishna says to Arjuna, after telling everything, Arjuna, I have told you everything. Now, he does not say, you have to do it. He says, Yatha ichchasi, tatha kuru. Here, discriminate, think about it. Now, you do what you feel that is good for you. So, this attachment can only have one source, which is weakness. And the antidote of weakness we all know. Strength. So Swami Vivekananda harped on this a great deal, because that is the root of all kinds of progress. Physical strength, of course, is necessary, but along with that, mental strength. So, I will just quote a little from his works so that we get the background of this verse, which we are going to read now. What is sin? He says. We hear so much about sin. He says, sin may be said to be the feeling of every kind of weakness. If we are not weak, there can be no sin. From this weakness springs jealousy, malice, and so forth. Hence, weakness is sin. The self within, the Atman within, each one of us, is always shining forth, resplendent. Turning away from that, people say, I, with their attention held up by this material body, this cage of flesh and bones. This is the root of all weakness. This thinking that I am nothing but the body and mind. So if someone takes away $5, we are ready to kill that person. Because we are living for that only. From that habit only, from that narrow world, my mind and body, and only everybody who is related to my body. From that narrow world, the relative outlook on life has emerged. But the absolute truth, our real nature, lies beyond. And our eyes should always be on that. Again, he says, this is the one cause of misery. We are attached. We are being caught. Therefore, says the Gita, work constantly, but be not attached, be not caught. Reserve unto yourself the power of detaching yourself from everything, however beloved. However great the pangs of misery you feel if you are going to leave it, still reserve the power of leaving it whenever you want, whenever you have to. The weak have no place here, in this life or in any other life. Weakness leads to slavery. Weakness leads to all kinds of misery, physical and mental. So we get infected, some virus is there, microbe is there, bacteria is there. So before we got infected, wasn't that virus around us? Hundreds and millions of viruses are always roaming around here. But what do the doctors say? Doctors say, build your immunity. have good food, exercise, so that the viruses which are always there cannot enter your body. So all these causes of misery, they were not produced when we were born. They are since eternal times. But the remedy is only one, to make ourselves strong. Otherwise, we open ourselves to all kinds of things, physically as well as mentally. Same thing, Swami Vivekananda, I'm only quoting him. Again, I quote his words. Weakness is death. There are hundreds of thousands of microbes surrounding us, but they cannot harm us unless we become weak. There may be million microbes of misery floating about us. Never mind. They dare not approach us. They have no power to get a hold on us until the mind has become weak. This is the great fact. Strength is life, weakness is death. Strength is felicity, life eternal, immortal. Weakness is constant strain and misery. Weakness is death. So now, against this background, we will understand that why Swami Vivekananda has told that this verse can be said to be the essence of the whole Gita. So this occurs in the second chapter. It is the second verse of the second chapter. So let's chant that verse. Klaibyam asma gama partha naitattvayupapadyate kshudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktottishtha parantapa. So Krishna says, O Arjuna, Klaibyam masma gama. Klaibyam, klibata, you all know. So I need not translate it literally. It means do not yield to unmanliness, the state of impotence, lack of fortitude, in the form of loss of vitality and vigor. Don't yield to that. It is a temporary emotion which has come to you. Don't succumb to it. Klaibyam asma gama. The next important thing is, Swami Vivekananda says, which we have to remind ourselves again and again, naitatvayu papadyate. So if you just break the sandhi, it will be easier. Na etat tvai upapadyate. Upapadyate means it does not befit you. You are far above these. Remember your own nature. Who are you? You are the greatest warrior on earth. More than that, you are the soul. You are the Atman. Remember your strength. The same thing occurs in the Ramayana also. You must have seen that excellent serial by Ramananda Sagar. So there, when they were discussing who can go to Lanka and come back, so many people were saying, I can only fly this much. Many monkeys were saying. Some said, I can go, I have that strength, but I will not be able to come back. So everybody saw that everybody was telling how much he could do, but Hanumanji was sitting without a word. So then they thought that Jamvan was the wise one. So he thought, why is Hanuman not telling anything? He is the strongest. Then they found that as if Hanuman had forgotten his ability. And then there is a wonderful song in that Ramayana serial. The lyrics are superb and the tune also. So all the monkeys sing that. And then Hanuman becomes conscious of his strength, which he seemed to have forgotten. So here also, Krishna is telling Arjuna, this weakness, It is not your nature. You were never like that. So remember your strength, remember your valor, remember this is not befitting you. Don't lower yourself to this ignoble standard. Na etattvai upapadyate. It does not befit you. So what you should do? You are parantapa. Param tapayati iti param tapa. Param means your enemies. Tapayati, you give pain to these evil persons. That is your job. You are a kshatriya. You are parantapa, scorcher of your foes. Remember that. And this shudram hridaya daurbalyam. Durbalata means weakness of the hridaya. Hridaya means mind here. Shudram, it is very kshudra, petty. It does not befit you. Give this up. Tyaktva. Tyaktva means, in Sanskrit, when you say this, tva means having done something. Then this tva pratyaya is there. Like bhuktva, having eaten. Gatva, having gone. So, tyaktva, having given this up, arise. Arise, remember your strength. So, this is the message of strength. That is why Swami Vivekananda, he liked this verse so much. So, again I will just break it up and translate. Masma gama, don't yield to klaibyam, unmanliness. Partha. Partha means son of Pritha. Pritha was another name of Kunti. So the implication, why does he say son of Pritha? Since it is very well known that in every son of Kunti, in every son of Pritha, each one was born not in an ordinary way. We all know that. That story we all know. That she prayed to the gods for those sons. First, she prayed to sun god, Karna was born. So all these were sons of gods. Arjuna was the son of Indra. So the implication is this. It is very well known that every son of your mother, Kunti, born out of the grace of gods, in everybody there is an abundance of valor. Therefore, being her son, unmanliness does not befit you. So, na upapadyate, tvai na upapadyate. Arjuna, your prowess is well known throughout the country. So, this type of weakness, this type of cowardice does not befit you. Now, tyaktva, giving up through discrimination, this faint-heartedness, the loss of fortitude which is manifesting in your body as weakness, whirling of mind, your bow is slipping from your hand. So, give up this weakness and stand. So one, he is making a two-pronged attack on this weakness. First, he is deriding Arjuna. To any human being, if you say you are a kleb, that is one of the greatest insults. And this he is telling to the greatest warrior on earth. So first, he is... I have some interpretation. Can I say that? Yeah. The word Klaibam, is so strong. Yeah. Somebody interpreted it like a whiplash. Yeah, whiplash. So it is a whiplash because he wants to make him ashamed. And on the other hand, he also wants him to remember his greatness. So because the case is extreme, he cannot even stand. So Krishna says things may be that only one way attack will not do. He has to attack him in both sides. How? First, make him ashamed of that. Oh my God, how could I do this thing? This is one feeling. Another is he remembers who he is. He remembers the tradition, his forefathers, his great mother. And his great brothers, all of whom were very brave warriors. So, Uttishta, get ready for battle. Now, enough of this weakness. So, as you said, what can be a greater insult to Arjuna? He is a Gandhivadhari whose name resounded all through India. So, he should not be afraid of either losing the battle or of confronting his own weakness. He should stop hiding behind all these great words like pity, compassion, etc. And on the higher level, what is the problem? On the highest level. See, this is on a lower level. That you are a great warrior, your lineage is such. But on the highest level, on the spiritual level, what is the root? Root is he is taking his own body and also the bodies of others as real entities. So he thinks if his body dies, he will die. And he is thinking that if I think myself as the body, I will also think of everybody as the body. That is my view, my level of consciousness with respect to myself will be the same as that with respect to others. So Arjuna, since he is in ignorance, he is thinking of himself as the body. And he thinks he will die if the body is dead. And others also he is taking to be the body. So he thinks they will also die. But this is not true. As we will, if you read the second chapter, then Shri Krishna elaborates. You are not the body. Your real nature is that which cannot be destroyed. You are the soul. Achedyoyam adayoyam akledyo shoshayevacha. Nitya sarvagata sthanu achaloyam sanatana. You are that Atman which cannot be moved. Fire cannot burn, air cannot dry, water cannot wet. Because it is not a material substance. So on the highest level, Arjuna, give up this ignorance. Because God will not compromise with any ignorance. Ignorance is never good. Ignorance is bliss. That concept will not do here. So, one monk, when I see this senior people, no, they even if you joke in this, when we were taught by these senior monks, even this kind of joke they don't like. So, when I just, with respect to something, I was sitting in front of a senior monk. So, as some sort of light-hearted way, with respect to something, I don't know the conversation, I just said, ignorance is bliss, Maharaj. He immediately became serious. He said, yes, ignorance is bliss, but only the ignorant people say like that. So he gave me a nice scolding. That only the fools think the ignorant is bliss. Fools like you, he told me. So ignorance has to be given up at all levels, on the worldly level as well as on the after that on the spiritual level. So this is the essence. This verse Swami Vivekananda said is the essence of the Gita. Because the cause of all our problems is weakness in some form or the other. Again I will quote him. Again I will quote Swamiji. For all of us in this world, life is a continuous fight. We are all struggling on some level. Many a time comes when we want to interpret our weakness and cowardice as forgiveness and renunciation. There is no merit in the renunciation of a beggar. A beggar may say, I have renounced everything. What does it mean? He has nothing to renounce. We know how often in our lives, through laziness and cowardice, we give up this battle and try to hypnotize our minds into the belief that we are brave. So, Shri Krishna's teaching opens with this significant verse. Till now, Arjuna has been talking. Krishna's teaching opens with this. Arise, O prince, give up this faint-heartedness, this weakness. So Arjuna has been arguing the matter with high moral ideas, how non-resistance is better than resistance and so on. He is trying to justify himself. But he cannot fool his own self. His own self is standing beside him in another form. God is the Antaratman, means He is in the hearts of everybody, guiding everybody. And He has taken the body and come as Krishna. So naturally, no one can fool God. Arjuna has become like a baby, Swami Vivekananda says, just letting his heart carry away his brain. Emotion has given surrendered to rationality. He is making a fool of himself and trying to cover his weakness with the flowery names of love and so on. Krishna sees through that. Arjuna talks like a man of learning and brings out many reasons. But Krishna will scold him later. You are speaking high words, but you are acting like an ignorant person. There is no consistency. So, I will now continue to quote Swami Vivekananda because he is told the same thing in many other ways. So, in a conversation with a disciple, he says in Belur Math, in the shlokas beginning with Tam Tatha Kripaya Vishtam, which we have just chanted, how poetically, how beautifully has Arjuna's real position been painted. Why is Krishna goading Arjuna to fight? Because it was not that the disinclination of Arjuna to fight arose out of the overwhelming predominance of Sattva Guna. Not at all. Because Swami Vivekananda said, Sattva and Tamas, from outside it will look same. Both of them you can see maybe sitting with eyes closed. But they are poles apart. Poles apart. Like opposite ends. So, it was not Sattva, Swamiji says. It was all Tamas that brought on this unwillingness. So, to make us understand the difference, he describes what the nature of a Sattva Guna man is. The nature of a man of Sattva Guna is that he is equally calm in all situations of life, whether it be prosperity or adversity. But Arjuna was afraid. He was overwhelmed with pity. That he had the instinct and the inclination to fight is proved by the simple fact that he came to the battlefield with no other purpose. Frequently in our lives also, such things are seen to happen. Many people think they are sattvika by nature, but they are really nothing but tamasika. Here in Arjuna, the mighty warrior, this tamas has come under the guise of daya, pity. In order to remove this delusion which had overtaken Arjuna, what did Bhagavan say? As I always preach, that you should not decry a man by calling him a sinner. Don't make him lose his self-esteem. Don't make a human being. That is why Swami Vivekananda at the Parliament of Religions in Chicago, he told, because in Christianity sometimes they harp too much on sin. So he said, sinner, it is a sin to call a man a sinner. So, you should not decry a man by calling him a sinner, but that you should always draw his attention to the omnipotent power that is in him. In the same way does Bhagavan speak to Arjuna. Na etat tvai upapadyate. It does not befit thee on the highest level. Why? Because you are the Atman, imperishable, beyond all evil. Having forgotten your real nature, you have, by thinking yourself as a sinner, been afflicted with bodily evils and mental grief. This does not befit you. Yield not to manliness, O son of Pritha, Klaibyam Masma Gama Partha. There is in the world neither sin nor misery, neither disease nor grief. If there is anything in the world which can be called sin, it is this: fear. Know that any work which brings out the latent power in you is punya, virtue, and that which makes your body and mind weak is sin. If there is anything in the world which is sin, this is sin. Shake off this weakness, this faint-heartedness. Thou art a hero, and this is unbecoming of thee. Then Swami Vivekananda says to his disciple, Sharat Chandra Chakravarti, if you, my sons, can proclaim this message to the world, Klaibyam Masmagama Partha Naitatvayupapadyate, then all grief, all sin, all sorrow will vanish from the face of the earth in 3 days. All these ideas of weakness will be nowhere. Now it is everywhere. This current of fear. Reverse the current, bring in the opposite vibration, and behold the transformation. You are the Atman. Go to the mouth of the cannon. Fear not. So he says, proclaim to the whole world with a trumpet voice. Arise and awake the omnipotent power which is within you. Arise, awake, and manifest the divinity within you. And then he says this: if one reads this one shloka, reads means imbibe, one gets all the merits of reading the entire Gita. For in this one shloka, verse, lies embedded the whole message of the Gita. And explaining, he says, not one step back. That is the idea. No fear. Fight it out. We are all struggling, fighting at some level or the other. Fight it out, whatever comes. Let the stars move from the sphere. Let the whole world stand against us. Death means only a change of garment. What of that? Why be afraid? Thus, fight. You gain nothing by becoming cowards, taking a step backward. You do not avoid any misfortune in that way. So die game. Every time you feel weak, you not only hurt yourself, but also the cause for which you are working. Infinite strength and faith are the only conditions of success. So this is the whole lesson of life, what he says. We can end after this short verse, Swami Vivekananda's message to us. That is a lesson for all life. What? Face the terrible. You may encounter many situations in your life. Face it. Face it boldly. The hardships of life fall back when we cease to flee before them. If we are ever to gain freedom, it must be by conquering nature, internal as well as external, never by running away. Cowards never win victories. We have to fight fear, troubles, and ignorance if we expect them to flee before us. So, this message of strength, which is already in the Upanishads, already in the Gita, but to people like us, ordinary people like us, who don't have that insight, we could never find it. So Swami Vivekananda, in his wonderful language, tells us this in various other ways. In the inspired talks, he says, the weak, the fearful, the ignorant will never reach the Atman. The search for truth is the expression of strength, not the groping of a weak and blind man. And then in one line, he tells his gospel, and we will end there. The older I grow, the more everything seems to me to lie in only one thing: manliness. Means bravery. This is my new gospel. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Paramastu.